let's go ahead and connect all of these different inputs to our database. So let's go ahead and click on one of it, reveal an element so that the entire group itself expands. That's some trick right there. So I'm going to start from top as always, so and work our way down. So let's go ahead and check one by one. Feather icon, we don't have anything to change. So yeah, this is like formatted as text, so it basically means we have to format if it's a new creator. I mean, if someone's creating it for the first time, which as in over here it's like the add option, it is like create professional. So in this case it will be like uh, create insurance details. The same thing goes for edit. Edit are in this case is like those three dots, if you remember, in insurance details. And you can go ahead and click on close, and it goes right back in. So the next thing that we have to do is category. We don't actually have category, but we can alter it as we go. So the first thing is the name. I'm going to, okay, that updated by itself. So in this place, I'm going to actually delete it. Let's see if we can actually replace it by another element. Okay, actually have input. So I'm going to click on input and replace, and it has replaced itself. Okay, we need to change this to input name. Okay, and we can type over here like this is the placeholder. Okay, type yeah. So that's what it is. But let's go and see what formatting this one has. There's 15 standard white gray border. This also should have 15 standard white gray border. Yeah, there we go. And the initial content of this is like insert dynamic data. We have parent groups insurance detail, and we have name. So that is what it takes from the database if it's like retrieving the data, but otherwise if it's not, it will be empty. Like for the create option, it will be empty, whereas in the edit, it will take the data from the database. So the next one is policy number, and it has updated itself. So let's go ahead and check this as well. This is also name, but we need it to be like a policy number. And we can change this to policy number as well. And this will be number or integer actually. Yeah, it's integer. And the next one would be amount insured, and it's updated. And whereas for this it will be amount insured, this integer. And for email we have to replace it by issue date, and it has updated itself again. And this will be, we have to replace this element. So let's see if it has a date format. Replace by another element, and let's see. Okay, we have a date and time picker. I'm going to replace it. Okay, it has replaced it. Let's change this to date format. Yeah, that's pretty good. And issue date. Okay, that's nice. Let's see if they have any formatting. Okay, we can change this formatting later on. So now we can actually get rid of this. Let's keep it and see if we can replace it by the element. So I'm going to do the same thing as I did for for issue date. Same for the maturity date as well. Maturity date, and I'm going to Whereas the height of this multi-line, which was previously a multi-line input, it was about 88 pixels in a height. We definitely do not want it to be that big. We can take the height of this, which is 44. So I'm going to click on this and change it manually, and there we go. It has changed, but we definitely need to change this to input maturity date, and we can go ahead and change this as well, which is good. Okay, and we can also put in a style. We can do the same style as before, and similar to the previous page, we adjusted it by pixel. Over here it's like 20 pixels, so let's go ahead and shift this by 20 pixel. I'm going to do this manually, otherwise you can adjust it over here as well. Need one more, and okay, there we go. Okay, so the next field that we have is a term, and this also will be replaced by uh, an input, single line input, and we also need to switch this. How much is this? 44. Okay, 44 in height, and we can also the formatting is the same right there, so we can take this formatting. It's the same. It is 15. This one, okay, which is pretty good. Okay, we can change it up a little bit later. Okay, so we can go ahead and change this to term, and this will also be term. So there are two fields that are still yet to be done, so I'm going to quickly fast forward this process, and we shall see what we have to do next. So another thing that I would like to tell you is that we have this group right here, which is right between input premium and text remark. So it basically is a collapsible, which is like this. It basically hides this portion, and it won't show you this particular portion in the UI. So since we obviously want this particular portion to be visible, we can drag this down so that only this portion will be not visible, and it will not be visible basically. You will see what I mean in a bit. So let's go ahead and close this eye icon right here. So yeah, basically put in all of our fields, all of our 8 fields that we initially added to our database. It is now connected in the form right here. So the next thing that we need to do is enable it, configure the button right here. As you can see, it's right here, and we don't have to do anything with this because it is quite general for the rest of the pages or the rest of the forms, even if you duplicate. So yeah, so I'm going to click on start edit workflow. So basically when we click the button, it directly landed on this button, and it also selected the correct element, that the correct reusable element. So I'm going to go ahead and click on step 1, and we definitely need to change this type. The type will be insurance details, and automatically it switches all of the data. So I'm going to click on one by one and add in the particular field and the particular value so that it both connects and it gets saved properly in the database. So I'm going to click over here, and it is maturity date, and we have maturity date as a field, and this is the name, which is wrong. So you can actually in this case you can either correct it in the name or correct it in the policy number, but I'm going to correct it in the policy number. And this one is term. I'm going to correct it right there, and we don't have contact number. The other things we can go ahead and put in the issue date with the particular thing. So this is what I mean when we have to rename, because it gets sometimes really confusing. As you can see, I can't seem to find the issue date. So let's go ahead and see in our design view. Issue date is here. Okay, it's just input date. So I'm going to rename this as issue date, and you can go ahead and click on our workflow once again, and it's right here. Okay, it should be right here. So naming it like to the T, to be really specific, it's really good. So we have remark to be done. We can change this to remarks value. So we have put in the maturity date, we have put in the policy number, we have put in the term, put in the issue date, remark as well. So the ones that are remaining is we have to put in name, and we can change this to names value. And the other thing that is remaining, the other two, is amount insured to its amount insured. Where is it? Okay, let's check once again, because it's a bit tricky if you don't rename it, right? So it's contact number, as you can see here. So my bad. Ensure. Let's go back right here. The button started workflow, and ensure it will be right now. And it's right here, and it's value. Okay, and the last but not least, we have premium and input premiums value. So there we go. We have all of our 8 fields. So let's go ahead and click on step 2. It is basically the same thing. What we did over here is the same thing. Make changes to insurance details. Over here, you're just creating. That is, when you click on add, this is what it's like creating option, whereas make changes is the 3 dots that you see when the data is present here. So let's go ahead and quickly add in our data over here. So I'm going to add in name, a policy number, and the amount insured. So now we have finished making edits to our database, that is the workflow of our button right here. So we have created the create a new insurance details. That is, when a person clicks on add, they would get this particular form to fill in the details, and if they want to edit, that is when they click on the 3 dots and edit, this is what would happen. So it's basically done, but I would like to add in an error alert. As you can see here, it's right here. Oh yeah, it says professional contact saved, but let's go ahead and rename professional contact to insurance detail saved. So basically you would get like a small green box which says like insurance details saved basically. So I'm going to go back to design and I'm going to close this. And the next thing, actually, okay, we still have a small bit to complete, and that is this remove pop-up. I mean pop-up remove. So I'm going to click on one by one and work my way down. So this is professional category. So I'm going this is deleted, so I'm going to rename this to name. It's actually not professional, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to change it to insurance details. That's right. Then over here, group close, nothing to be done, and insurance details, name, right. And the second portion would evaluate to, let's do policy number. Let's keep it at date for now, and then we'll come back and see if we need to add anything or if the pop-up looks really bland or anything like that. Okay, so that's the heading. Let's see what we can add over here. Are you sure you would like to delete parent group's insurance detail? Let's add both the name over here and the policy number. So it basically would be like, are you sure you want to delete a policy? It's the name and the policy number followed by the policy number. Okay, so I'm going to click on remove and add started workflow. Okay, we need to enable this. It's like parent groups professional. Okay, still need to enable this entire group. Okay, professional. This is still at professional, so we need to change it. Insurance details. So let's check again. Okay, we have button remove. So let's start edit workflow, insurance details. So once we have corrected it over there, it has also automatically corrected itself here. So let's check the error alert. We also need to change this right here. Let's do that. Insurance details deleted. So it basically gives out an information right there. It's similar to the previous, like when you click on save when you're edited or something like that. So it's basically that. So now we have to go back to our page, our main page, that is the Perfin Insurance doc. So let's go ahead and click on it once. And it should take a few seconds to load.